All right, how's it going on this glorious day of November 1st? It is the first day of November, which means that Austin traffic is going to get worse because it's all about the Christmas shopping. Um, Luckily for me, I do all my Christmas shopping on Amazon and I only buy two gifts for my niece because her birthday is also in December. So that's how I do it. That's how I roll. With that being said, we're going to be talking about Rep. Alexandre Ocasio Cortez. Um, I had high hopes for her. I'm going to be honest. She defeated a prominent, not Republican, but a prominent Democrat who failed to show for debates because he didn't take her seriously. It was rumored that he was going to be the Speaker of the House, but we got Nancy Pelosi instead. And now we have AOC filling in the spot. Part of the squad, which an Austin city council or former city council is now part of the squad. But that's neither here or there. It's a very long intro. AOC Rips pro-Israel group as extremist organization. According to the Center, the Rep. Alexander Cortez criticized the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, AIPAC, for being an extreme organization that undermines U.S. democracy. She specifically called them out for their endorsement of January 6 insurrectionists. The AIPAC is a pro-Israel lobby that supports the U.S.-Israel alliance and funds candidates from both parties. However, they receive backlash for endorsing lawmakers who refuse to affirm President Biden's election. Ocasio Cortez also condemns a pro-Palestine rally in the Times Square, saying it was unacceptable. She expressed support for a ceasefire amid the conflict between Israel and Hamas. Well, I know there's going to be people on both sides of this. Some say Hamas did no wrong; they only did what they had to. Others are going to say that without Hamas, Israel wouldn't be bombing Gaza right now. There wouldn't be a call for a ceasefire because they'd be living in peace. At least she's condemning both sides, which is good. I mean, to be honest. This is from thehill.com. Ocasio Cortez rips pro-Israel group as extreme organization by Lauren Safarza. See, your Rep. Alexander blasted pro-Israel group as extreme organization Tuesday on social media. AOC responded to a post on X, formerly known as Twitter, by the American Israel Public Affairs Committee that took aim at her and 9 others who voted against the resolution to express support for Israel and condemned the militant group Hamas attacked against the country earlier this month. I don't know what people's response should be when your country is attacked by a terrorist organization. I am critical of Israel, but I am never going to support a terrorist group as Hamas. I could give them props for how they attacked. They surprised a lot of people in the manner that they attacked Israel. And I have to give them props for that. But does not mean that I support their actions. Let's see here. She ripped the organization for targeting lawmakers of color and suggested that the group is a threat to democracy in the U.S. AIPAC endorses scores of January 6 insurrections, she wrote. They are no friend to the American democracy. They're the ones that are more racist and bigoted PAC in Congress as well, who disproportionately targets members of color. They're an extreme organization that destabilizes U.S. democracy. The AIPAC responded to the New York Democrat remark on X, pushing back on the claims that their organization targets people of color. More of the same tired lies and spin, the group wrote. LC and the squad summed up, people who disagree with us are racist. The IPAC stands with pro-Israel Democrats and Republicans of all races, genders, and backgrounds who support U.S.-Israel alliance. We oppose those that don't. like you. Rep Mark Pocon echoed AOC's Cortez remark on AIPAC, which also replied to Pocon criticism on X. Got to admit, this sums up how many feel about what AIPAC really is about. Insurrectionists, WTF, no friend of democracy, Pocon wrote in response to AOC posts. Got to admit it at Mark Pocon is a hypocrite organization responding to single out AIPAC or AIPAC out for doing the exact same thing PAC supporting him do. Surely for the sake of consistency, he will condemn them too and return the 6 figures he took from these PACs last cycle, right? Ooh, this is some political drama at its finest. This is YouTube drama or YouTube stars or influence type drama right here. These are people that are representing us getting into drama fights over a PAC that they don't like, calling them names, calling them racist, just for that PAC to dish out tea back to them of what they've done in the past. I mean, this is not what our leadership in Congress should be about. They should be able to come together on common grounds to tell Hamas that they are no friends of the United States. We can support Palestine, but we can only support Palestine without Hamas. AIPAC always gets mad when I put America first, he said in response to AIPAC tweet. I won't be voting for their 14 plus billion shakedown of American taxpayer either. Let them know what you think by replying to their post and intentionally misrepresenting my intent and the resolution I voted for or voted against. Oh wait, the exchange between AIPAC and two House came just days after Thomas Massie, Republican, had heated back and forth the group over tweet criticizing 10 lawmakers who voted against the Israel resolution last week. Is this Thomas Massie also saying in response? Either way, the House Republican released $14.3 billion aid for Israel on Monday. This includes cuts to funding to the IRS, a key detail that's already garnering opposition from the Democrats and the White House. I mean, nobody really freaking likes the IRS. Is this a long one? Yeah, it's a long one. I won't go too far into it, but this was published yesterday by Michael Schnell. House GOP unveils a $14.3 billion Israel aid package for Israel to show support for the embattled U.S. ally amidst its war against Hamas. To pay for foreign aid, however, the legislation include the $14.3 billion in cuts to funding to the IRS, a key detail that will likely be a non-starter for Democrats. Do you support Israel or do you support taxmen? Do you support government waste? I mean, it's an interesting way to go about it, don't get me wrong. This cut would affect funds included in the Democrats' sweeping bill, health and climate bill, dubbed as the Inflation Reduction Act, signed into law last year. The package also deviates from the White House strategy of linking aid for Ukraine in the same piece of legislation, a fact that can make it even more difficult to get the bill over the finish line. Legislation also includes $4 billion for Israel Iron Dome and David Sling defense system, and another $1.2 billion for development of the Iron Beam defense system. This package is one of the first pieces of legislation introduced under the Speaker Mike Johnson, who assumed the top job last week after the brutal battle who should succeed former Speaker Kevin McCarthy following his ouster. House Rules and Committee will take up legislation on Wednesday. Both members, parties, and chambers have emphasized the importance of supporting Israel as it battles Hamas. Last week, the House overwhelmingly approved resolution backing Israel and condemning Hamas which was the first piece of legislation passed during Johnson's speakership, which is just lip service saying we support our ally in Israel. The cuts included in the House GOP Israel bill and the absence of Ukraine funding in the legislation will likely generate applause from conservative, defective hawks and Republicans skeptical of sending more aid to Ukraine. At the same time, however, those details are expected to drive at least some Democratic opposition to aid package despite strong support for Tel Aviv, setting the stage for a fight over support for the U.S. close ally in the Middle East, which is really our only ally. I know some people don't think so. They're more of an ally than Saudi Arabia will ever be. So your Senate Foreign Relations Chair Ben Kendall calls the IRS funding cuts a non-starter and a poison bill. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre criticized the cut included in the House GOP aid bill, telling reporters Monday that emergency funding request does not require offsets. Like other emergency funding that Congress has passed with bipartisan support, they do not require offsets. They just don't. Well, you got a new sheriff in town that wants to cut spending. What a novel idea. If you want to pay for our support, we're going to cut spending somewhere else. We got to balance the book. We can't print more money. Rep. Debbie Wasserman from Florida, who is Jewish, accused Johnson of playing political games and called the measure offensive. It's offensive that our government keeps on spending money, not saving money, causing inflation. Support for defending Israel should not come with conditions, be it cutting foreign military finances by 30% or offsetting aid in a time of crucial need. Wasserman Schultz said in a statement before the text was unveiled, I am deeply disturbed by Speaker Johnson playing political games with Israel emergency funding, something our nation has never done in a time of crisis. Well, ever since Biden took office, we had one crisis after another. When your neighbor's house is on fire, you don't haggle them over the price of a garden hose. Speaker Johnson's political games are offensive to all pro-Israel Americans, and I hope he reverses course immediately. I hope he doesn't. Jared Moskowitz wrote on Twitter that he would vote for the bill because this is dead in the Senate. It violates Republicans' single subject spending rule. And it adds to the deficit. I will support Israel. So your foreign policy and national security being conducted as a future political mailer. You choose the IRS over Israel. I'm not going to take debate. They're American hostages. This is not a game. He wrote. The White House earlier this month unveiled roughly $100 billion in emergency funding requests to include money for Israel, Ukraine, border security, and allies in the Indo-Pacific. And where is this money coming from? Seriously, where is this money coming from? As a concerned taxpayer, where is this money coming from? Is this coming from the Fed, which are printing money, which is adding to the inflation? We're already struggling. House GOP bill matches the amount of money of Israel, including in the White House supplement. Both the exclusion of Ukraine aid is likely to spark howls from the White House and congressional Democrats who have been adamant about moving support for the two allies together. Some Senate Republicans, including Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, have called for passing an aid both for Israel and Ukraine. Senator Majority Leader I read all of this. It's here. Chuck Crying Schumer on Monday advocated for moving Biden's entire supplemental request. The way forward to exceptionally clear, we must pass the president's supplemental request, which has funding for Israel, Ukraine, and the Southern Pacific, while also supplying critical humanitarian aid for Gaza, Schumer said on the Senate floor. America does not have the luxury of burying our head in the sand or leaving our friends to fend for themselves if we want the world to remain a safe place for freedom, democratic principles, and American prosperity. We must defend against those who are working hard to undermine us. We must not succumb to false lures and isolationism that the hard right now professes, because the only thing that will achieve is to make America less safe, he later added. But where is this money coming from? This money's not coming from reserves. This is money coming from the money printer, which is why we're in this mess we're in right now. With that being said, that is my video for today. And I hope you all have yourself a wonderful day, morning, or evening.